To go on stage? No, guys. It is time for PvT between these two awesome nerds.
And our first player of these awesome pair is in the bottom left. It is Makers ShoWTimE. And in the top right in the red, our Terran, our French Terran, representing Infinity Gaming. This is Clem.
So, I was going to start something, and if you like numbers, Maynard, I've got a very funny statistic for you. Now, of course, ShoWTimE is one of our WCS Challenger winners, right? Which means you get directly seeded into Group Stage 3. And in that Group Stage 3, Mr. Tobias was actually on fire. So he played two best of threes. He won both of them, 2-0, 2-0. And that got him seeded into the round of 16, where we are currently in. So that means that ShoWTimE has actually only played 4 maps in this entire tournament. Of course, he's practicing, he's warming up, don't get me wrong. But he has played 4 official maps so far in this tournament. Clem started in Group Stage 1. How many maps do you think Clem has played so far?
18.
26.
Well, that's a lot more than I thought.
So ShoWTimE has had 4 official games so far. Clem has had 26 matches. This is his 27th official game. Of course, a little bit of bumping and bruising for Clem here, dropping a couple series, winning the rematch.
A lot of maps.
Yep, winning a lot of them 2-1, but he did have a strong showing in the round of 24, where he defeated Zenstead 3-0. So it could have been even more. But yeah, quite the difference. 4 maps against 26.
So safe to say Clem's warmed up and ready for this TVP.
Yes, hopefully he is, Maynard. Our very first map, New Repugnancy. I really think this is a very important one already to see how this series will play out. I cannot wait to see what Clem has in store for us. It made a lot of sense to me that he picked this one. I'm still a tiny bit confused about that Cyber Forest pick of ShoWTimE, unless he really loved maybe like chrono boosting adepts to the other side of the map, but we'll see when that actually happens. Clem, you better have something good on this map if you want to win this best of 5.
Stargate for ShoWTimE, delaying that warp gate to be able to get it down as quickly as possible after that adept. And this is, I mean, ShoWTimE is Mr. Safety usually, Mr. Stargate, Mr. Scouting, making sure that he doesn't have anything unaware here. That's a nice catch from Clem, actually, getting that probe.
I think a lot of Terran players these days, they really don't like setting their Reaper out if they haven't seen the probe yet. They are willing to keep it at home until, you know, even that CC is like 80 or 85% done, because there are so many little builds out there for Protoss players where the moment that Reaper would normally run to the other side of the map, the probe shows up, it starts working on the SCV, and Terran players know how annoying that is, especially because the Adept is making his way to the other side of the map as well. Maynard, this is going to get feisty already. This Reaper may grab a probe, may even grab 2 probes, but an Adept on the other side of the map. Wait, did he send it all the way home? No, there is an Adept. Yep. But he probably has already picked off a...
He's shooting the factory, not the SCV here, actually.
It was actually too late to deny the command center from finishing up, so...
Yeah, well, as Adept stuck in the main base, it actually hasn't gotten any kills yet, strangely enough. I was 100% sure it was going to get the one on the factory there, but...
The Marine, maybe? Marine?
All right, it draws blood, but it does die. So not a good trade for ShoWTimE, especially considering this Reaper is still a thorn in his backside here, nearly getting a probe kill.
Wow.
It's already got 1.
That is really good damage right now, this early on into the game, seeing all of those probes being moved from the mineral line, and even forcing that Oracle, right, to activate the Pulsar Beam, spending some of that energy. I think this is a start that Clem can be very, very satisfied with.
Yeah, pretty comfortable start here for the Terran. Now, ShoWTimE, of course, does have Oracles heading out across the field.
Oh.
Clem's going to try and catch one.
That is really close. Oh my God. I think it's actually going to connect, right?
I don't think it's just in range. Just out of range there. But nice try. It's always amazingly worth it if that happens. And there's a Viking anyway for Clem.
Yeah, maybe he pushes it towards that mine. ShoWTimE is actually so fortunate here. He has probably no idea how close he was towards that mine. ShoWTimE is actually thinking about going up to 3 bases already this early on a map this small.
The greed.
Yes, and just with gateway units and Oracle, by the way, there's no real strong follow-up tech. No Robo yet, no Twilight Council. I guess he did get a little bit of a scout off right in the main base, but actually a little bit surprised by how aggressive ShoWTimE is expanding here.
He's getting going up to 4 Oracles at the moment. Now, this is one way to hold a big timing attack from the Terran, is to just bombard them with Oracles. Alternatively, you can also, when the Terran's out of position, just annihilate a worker line very easily.
You can do that too. One other thing that these Oracles could potentially do down the line is maybe drop 27 stasis traps that make it very hard for Clem to run towards the other side of the map. There's still, I believe, no, he moved the Widow Mine again. ShoWTimE just going to try to suicide this into the natural of Clem.
It looks like it. He's sending a lot of adepts here. That's a ton of army supply.
There are two. Yeah, actually, this is looking very, very dicey for Clem. He doesn't have a missile turret here yet, Maynard. There's only a couple of Marines. There are 2 tanks, so maybe the tank on the high ground is safe. But ShoWTimE is just going to go for it here, and Clem is not ready.
Damn, Mr. Safety, Mr. Sit Back and Macro is up here putting the hurt on Clem. Splash damage getting a lot of these adepts sorted. Few SCVs are getting taken down. 6 SCVs fall towards the end there as the Oracles shade on in again. These hurt SCVs getting target fired. 11 die.
That Viking's so important here, though. One more Oracle should go down, and it does go down. And I know this looks very dramatic, guys. Like, oh, he lost 11 SCVs, he's down. But actually, I think that was a very reasonable hold for Clem. I really think that ShoWTimE was hoping for even more damage than he actually got done, because this is not when Clem is ready yet. Well, when Stim and Combat Shield, that's when Clem is going to be ready, and Clem's army is going to be massive compared to the army of ShoWTimE.
And that feels like, you know, TDPs a lot of people see there and they look at the work account and they go, wow, Protoss is so far ahead, but it's not about the work account, it's about the army supply. If the army is way bigger, the Terran can just end the game. It doesn't matter how many probes you have, because they will not stand and fight against Marines, siege tanks, and bunkers.
Yeah, that's actually a really good. Oh, the Widow Mine, he moved it. It was actually, it could have potentially connect. There is a stasis trap, though. Maybe the mine could activate it.
Oh, that's a nice little catch there. It's just the mine as well.
This is very important for ShoWTimE because he needs to buy time. He's got a lot of gateways finishing up, mainly. He's got charge finishing up as well, and +1 would be fantastic. But I really don't think Clem is going to give him that time. I think if Clem does this well, there's actually a chance that Clem can just pick up game number 1. If he gets all of his bio units together and he micros this well, there's a lot of potential in this army of Clem.
Yeah, those stasis units need to join in the fight here for sure. He's going to go towards that high ground here and start to pressure the 3rd base instead of going up the throat into the natural. So it's a little bit different. Also breaking off some units to go for a drop of the 3rd. This is sort of weakening his bowl of units, though.
I think he's just going to put the tank there, and that tank is going to be very safe because the depths are never going to make it there.
Mines.
Yep, if the Oracles would decide to dive on it. Here we go. There's a lot of Zealots, though.
Oh, so many Zealots. They do have charge. The Widow Mines are going to connect on the splash damage all right there against the Zealots. They go to the Siege Tank, and the Widow Mines do get rid of the Zealots, actually. So the Siege Tank is still alive and still firing away at the Stalker and the Sentry and the Zealots here on the low ground. And now it's starting to shell away at the 3rd as well. These pylons in danger.
That was incredibly well done by Clem. So smart, having those 2 Widow Mines protecting that tank. The tank survives. This Nexus is in a lot of trouble now. Zealots are running forward, but it's +1 attack against +1 armor. This is really not great for ShoWTimE. He needs to get a Guardian Shield, and I don't think he's going to get it. Loses the Oracles as well.
Damn, both Oracles down, and ShoWTimE's army supply is starting to dwindle a little bit here. Got another round of charge lots in. That Viking heading around to the backside. Looks like it wants to try and land on this probe line while the bio kites these charge lots up the ramp. Clem is nicely kiting here. He's getting a little bit low on hit points in the Spire units, though, so he does lift up and pulls back for the Viking. There it goes, starting to hit the probe line.
Yep, he's already done a little bit of economic damage, right? And ShoWTimE is only 3-4 workers ahead, and there are no Storm on the way. There is no Storm on the way. There are no Colossus on the way. I must say, I'm impressed that ShoWTimE didn't just die there. This Medivacs flying over the sentries and Stalkers. That would be a very expensive loss. I must say, very impressive that ShoWTimE did not die there, because at one point it looked very, very dire. And I still think ShoWTimE is in a lot of trouble. Don't get me wrong, guys, but I'm impressed that he's still in this game.
Also, Clem on the other side of the map he does have a 3rd on location, and it's being mined from, so it's ready and willing, and also offering him a lot of extra income here. ShoWTimE's going to see that with the Phoenix and go, oh, okay, well, you know, this situation is not comfortable for me. I need to start trading very, very well here against the Terran.
You know what's a big problem for ShoWTimE as well?
Oh, yeah, big drop.
He has no vision, Maynard. He lost all of the Oracles. There is no Phoenix, and obviously there is no Robo yet. There is a mine drop.
Widow Mines. This one is actually near a big probe cluster, but they've managed to squeeze on through in the end, and only 3 go down. It could have been way more catastrophic than that. Speaking of catastrophes, the main base under threat here by a lot of upgraded bio. In come those charge slots from the natural trying to help out. And finally, it looks like ShoWTimE starting to muster up a defense.
Awesome snipe there on the High Templar, though. That would have been the Storm that ShoWTimE really needs to maybe hang in this game even longer. But Clem probably figured out it wasn't ready yet. Sniped that High Templar. Clem is just playing an awesome game, and he's really abusing the fact that ShoWTimE lost all of those air units, and he has no vision. He can't possibly know those drops are coming.
Clem actually taking a lead in the workers here, getting a 4th CC as well. Trying to really macro far ahead. Oh, found an opening in the defense of ShoWTimE here. Demauer has a hole in it. He's heading towards over the natural. He's coming down from the 3rd and bringing the units back from the main base as well.
I mean, that middle mine drop can always come back. There are more units streaming from the right side of the map. Storm is done. We'll connect with a couple of these Marauders. Storm on the right side, but that's just on a mine or 2.
And that's it for Storms. Oh, more units here from Clem as well. More Widow Mines as well. Lots of Marauders. Charge Loss taking a big winner mine hit there to the front. Oh, tries to drag the mines in on the bio. Doesn't quite get the connections he wants, though.
Really cool idea that with the hallucinations. I feel like that was almost his best play. I like what ShoWTimE is doing there. Still sort of surviving. I have no idea how ShoWTimE is still surviving.
Plus one on a Charge Loss, I think.
Yeah, he's starting to really run out of units though, but he had a couple Guardian Shields. Gonna wipe in a few more High Templars. I just love the way that Clem has played this, man. Really, really smart little setups.
And not really giving him any room to breathe either. Just constant pressure while macroing on the other side of the map. Getting his 2-2 upgrades. Like behind all of this, he got his armor, he got his second engineering base, so he's double upgrading at the moment. Normally, I mean, ShoWTimE's going to have +3 armor on the way, which is great, but against a Terran with 2-2 upgrades, it's not that fantastic.
And that main is completely exposed. There is absolutely nothing in this main base right now. ShoWTimE's got to choose. I don't think he can recall. There's no energy there anyway in the first place, but he just recalled before. He might be able to deal with his army on the north side, but Clem is not crazy. He's going to run away and then probably commit a little bit more with these units in the main base. Look at these supplies, Maynard. Like, he's taking a pretty commanding lead.
Yeah, getting this pylon here as well, which is, you know, one of the 2 pylons powering these gateways. He's starting to get rid of some of that infrastructure. High Templar exposed here. That has a storm on it. Gets taken out for free. Very nice pickoff. Counter-attack here from ShoWTimE with a bunch of charge loss, but Clem has reinforcements here, ready to engage. Oh, nearly losing that mana back, but the main base does get cleaned up for ShoWTimE. But Clem, chip damage, non-stop, putting the pressure on ShoWTimE. Gets himself map number 1.
Clem says, not again. Last time we met on a stage this big, yes, you won 3-0, but I'll be damn sure that doesn't happen again. I really think a lot of this game was decided on that very first attack. It was kind of a crazy build by ShoWTimE to just make 4 oracles and that many adepts. There was, of course, no resonating glaives. It was just a, you know, gate, Stargate, 2 more gateways, so no fancy upgrades. It really looked like it was going to be awesome. It looked like it was going to do a lot of damage, but Clem somehow just took care of it oracle by oracle. And yes, he lost 8 to 10 SCVs, but ShoWTimE was hoping for way more than 8 to 10 SCVs there, and he never even got that tank on the high ground. But that Viking, Maynard, that Viking deserves an award, because that Viking really saved the life of many SCVs.
MVP Viking. Some sick plays from Clem in that game. Obviously, the Widow Mines on the tank when he went attacked as well.
So
very,
cute.
very sick. Getting rid of those charge lots. All the oracles, whatever ShoWTimE decided to dive on that tank with was going to get picked off. Very smart plays. So, it's so awesome to see such intelligence from such a young player as well. Like, just really sick game sense. He's played so much StarCraft.
And he was even using the mines focus firing when he had that one tank on the high ground, because there was one zealot that was a little bit ahead of the other 2, and then he moved the focus fire from that one mine towards the one in the back, because he's like, okay, then I'm actually going to get all 3, and that's when the tanks survived. And ShoWTimE probably like, how on earth did that even happen? An excellent, excellent game by Clem, and that's really good to see. Perhaps getting a little more used to this stage as well. You know, we watched another young player on stage early today, Skillers. I had a little chat with him after the series as well. He's like, I was just so nervous, man. He's like, I just couldn't do anything. He's like, I have no idea what I was doing in half the games. I don't even know why I won the first one. He's like, it was really, really hard. He's like, but it's okay. It's a learning moment. And that's what it often is for these young guys, right?
Skillers is new to the stage. A lot of these guys are new to the stage. That's we are in game number 2, guys. Game number 1 was so action-packed, and I'm excited to see what Cyberforest looks like. In the bottom right here, the German Protoss representing Makers. In the blue, this is ShoWTimE. And the top left, the French Terran currently up in the series, representing Infinity Gaming, the young stud. This is Clem.
Still a lot of people in this lovely cybersport arena. Really good to see the passion of all of these nerds here. But this was the map, Maynard, that I'm a little bit surprised by. Like, ShoWTimE actually picked it. This was ShoWTimE's pick. I was first of all surprised he didn't ban it. I think a lot of Protoss players are okay with banning this. Now, there is one advantage that Protoss often has here, and that's maybe you can chrono boost out the first adept, and you can really delay that command center, right? But what if Clem just builds the CC on the high ground? Would that really be the worst thing in the world on a map like Cyberforest, where you can then still eventually make a very strong push, maybe with a couple of Marines, tanks, even get bunkers up? I'm really curious about this from ShoWTimE.
Low ground expansions are so risky on this map. Even just one gateway's worth of production can really put a lot of pressure on that, on a rush distance this short.
Yeah. Cybercore before Nexus as well, so this is just going to echo everything that we just said.
Yep. Well, the double SCV early TVP dance happening here on the low ground. It seems like Clem does want a low ground expand.
Okay, well, this could very well spell disaster, right? Because obviously this is what ShoWTimE wants Clem to do, and it seems like that is exactly what's going to happen. I hope that maybe Clem should produce just Marines after that first Reaper. Instead of going for a reactor, if you just start building Marines immediately, you can maybe say that it's actually going to be okay. Let's take a look at it, Clem. What is it going to be? Because you have to know, Clem, this is not your first rodeo on this map. Oh my goodness. Well, Maynard, I'm starting to get a little bit worried, okay? Because this adept is almost out, and this is going to ignore that Reaper completely. It's going to go straight to the other side of the map. And Clem, you've got your work cut out for yourself, buddy, in trying to get this command center up and running.
Certainly, and even that probe's going to be a little bit annoying here. Going to harass that SCV as it makes the command center. This is just so standard for early stage PvT. And ShoWTimE is engaging that Reaper for a bit, but the Shade is not slowing down. That's heading across the map. Oh, he cancels the Shade.
Whoa, yeah, I'm actually surprised by that.
That is a shock, yeah. I thought this was going to go across the map for sure.
But the second SCV showed up. Maybe ShoWTimE
killed the probe.
Yep, maybe ShoWTimE thought that his probe alone was going to be enough for a little bit. He gets the Reaper. Okay, that's a pretty big pickoff. I still think delaying the command center in general is better. But maybe he also felt that if he ignores the Reaper just jumps into the main base and maybe start picking off a probe or two as well. These Adepts are on a mission, Maynard. Can they get there before that command center is done? They wasted a lot of time.
I don't think so because of the Reaper dance. It's about to finish here in a second.
Well, they could maybe win this fight, right? Against two Marines and a Hellion.
The two Adepts do win this fight. They got bonus damage against all three of those units there. The Hellion getting shooed away. Those Marines already dead and buried. And the Hellions just doing a little bit of micro here. It does outrange them, but now the SCVs are next on the menu here for these Adepts, and they can always shade out of here. The hurt Adept going to the side of the mineral line here, and Clem, he does get that pick off there. But again, these are Marines that aren't going to win this battle.
He's going to end up losing one more Marine, and ShoWTimE, I don't think he's done yet. Would definitely love to get at least one more SCV, maybe even get the Marine in the end. There are extra Marines showing up though, but ShoWTimE is okay, I think, with his Adept going down in the end. He has picked off quite a few units. Does not get it. Do you think that Clem is just going to move out almost immediately? Even though he lost a couple of Marines, like we saw him move out super early on Kairos Junction, right, against Mana. And I think there's a good chance that he's going to go for another very, very early move out here.
I'm with you, actually. There was actually like a really early move out with like...
One tank and a couple Marines.
Yeah, that's right. So if he goes for that, I think that's a pretty powerful play, especially on this map. ShoWTimE getting those pylons sorted up on the edge of the main there, so we can see if Clem tries to try and drop him or go for Liberator harassment or something like that. Speaking of which, there is a Liberator on the way here for Clem after the Viking, so that's always going to be very, very powerful if you do want to push with that or even harass while you're pushing.
Exactly, right? Maybe just send the Liberator to the main base, drag units out of position, or keep Stalkers at home, and then he is going to move. So the move out is definitely later than what we've seen in some of these other maps. I still kind of expect it. But of course, it's going to be harder and harder. ShoWTimE right now feels confident enough that he can maybe go out. This is not really working out for Clem, right? Because he's going to run in the middle of the map against these Stalkers, or at least ShoWTimE is going to stand there. And hey, these Stalkers, they only need one volley to pick off one of these Marines. So ShoWTimE has definitely some potential here to thin out that Marine count.
Clem instantly reacts, though, looking at his army. This is the dangerous sort of valley that you go through in the middle of Cyber Forest, where you don't want to have that high ground blindly ran up there by those units. Getting the Observer's quite nice, actually. One scan to get rid of that with the Viking and the Marines helping out.
Oh, Stalkers are looking for that Liberator, and they could actually get it. That is so unreal.
Wow.
What? How did he know? Is he another Observer?
No. I mean, it's obviously map hacks, so we stopped the game because he's disqualified.
That is actually some sick game sense there. ShoWTimE just going around, maybe looking and hoping that he finds something. Now he's going to be caught up reinforcements as well. Finds a tank. ShoWTimE with some really, really good Stalker play.
He is dancing all over Clem right here in game number 2, and he's just going to go straight up into the natural. And he can do the blink circuit here. Just go through the natural, do a little bit of damage, and then get on out before losing any Stalkers.
Clem should know that at this point he can't push anymore. He's only down 6 workers. It's not the end of the world. And ShoWTimE's next as well. It is almost up, but he's only a couple probes ahead. But obviously Clem was hoping for a lot more success there, guys. Ideally, that Liberator sneaks into the main base, pulls Stalkers out of position, and allows Clem to siege up with tanks. But ShoWTimE showing us some very, very high-level play. And actually blinks into the main base with almost everything, Maynard.
He's going to get a reactor here for sure. Maybe even a Marauder pick off. That's always nice to get. Oh, going for another Marauder, and looked like he wanted a tank there for a second. He's losing a Stalker.
You get 3 of them there, right? It's pretty juicy, right? 3 volleys, 3 Marauders. We'll end up losing a Stalker or 2 in the end. You know, the entire game, 4 Stalkers have gone down, but then getting that reactor and then 3 Marauders on top of it, you gotta be pretty pleased with that if you're ShoWTimE.
Yeah, certainly. Great harassment, great control of the early stage of this game. and he's just got to save 3 Nexus sort of opening here. Clem's third. If it is going to happen, extremely delayed. Extremely delayed. Another tank pickoff from ShoWTimE? Oh, get out of here.
ShoWTimE is getting so much value out of his Blink Stalkers at this point. This is how you want to play with Blink Stalkers, guys. They're not just good defensively and trying to cut off, defend against drop. They can be really good out in the map as well and just be as annoying as possible. As long as Stim is not done, these Stalkers have a lot of wiggle room, and ShoWTimE is getting almost maximum value out of it. And now he has created a very healthy worker lead.
Certainly has, and this is starting to get really dire for Clem. He needs to make something happen here. Viking heading towards the main base, I guess, for a little bit of probe harassment, and that's all well and good, but it's such a slow jet plane.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while, right? Scan does go down, picks up the Observer. That's nice. The second Observer, I believe, already. That's Clem has picked off in this game, but now with Storm already on the way.
Actually managed to get all the way in here. That's very nice for Clem.
Mining time?
Yeah, probe kills. Ooh, catching some Stalkers there. ShoWTimE not looking at his army for a second. Oh, wow. 4 Stalker pickoffs. Very nice for Clem.
They just see the power of these little harassments, right? It's not even always about the damage you do in your opponent's main base. It's about distracting them and then potentially forcing them to make a mistake on the other side of the map. But there are High Templars out already, Maynard, and Storm is done. So this army is tiny, man. Like, where do you even Storm? Every Storm is going to hit. I think Clem just kind of wants to distract and maybe find some more damage. And maybe this mine drop can get the job done.
Certainly can. And he needs to get something done here. He is starting to fall a little bit behind. No reaction from ShoWTimE.
Uh-oh.
Boom! Oh, and also more booms on the other side here as the probes do go down. Big storms on the army of Clem. His units are so damaged here as well as the medevac.
For some bizarre reason, that second Widow Mine only got a single probe. The first one got 4. Clem did get out of there with both mines and medevacs, or the one medevac, but that's a medevac that already took quite a bit of a beating. You can't drop these mines yet, Clem, because they're not going to be ready yet to fire. And I think he should have known that, so this will get shut down. But Clem's definitely still in this game, though, man. He's only down 6-7 workers. He is getting a 3-base economy going. Of course, it's scary that ShoWTimE already has Storm, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's advantage ShoWTimE, not match. So you can see that he's starting to get the High Templar in. Storm is done, and that it's been a problem for Clem for the moment in the game, for the mid game. And ShoWTimE's getting that 4th Nexus, still just making tons of probes, nearly up in the 70s in that probe count. He's about to hit it too. And it's about that time where as a Terran, you're going to be like, do I go down the Liberator path, the Ghost path? Like, he just straight up bio and medevac at this point, I feel like is just not good enough unless you're really good with multitasking.
Yeah, or you get a crazy amount of tanks, right? But he doesn't really have those either.
Ghost Academy there.
Makes a lot of sense, I think, especially against the quick Storm that we already have. And of course, after Storm, there's always going to be quite a few Archons in the mix here and there as well. Makes a lot of sense. I really like all the Widow Mines that Clem is producing. I still see a lot of Terran players often just trying to rely on tanks, but against all these Zealots, I really think the mines have potential to really turn fights upside down. How does he see this again? There's an Observer in the middle of the map as well. So ShoWTimE obviously looking strong on 4 bases, but hey, with a couple of mines, everything is still possible here for Clem.
Certainly, he's going to have 1-1 upgrade, so his units are a little bit more well-rounded. Does he have a second engineering bay and an armory done? Or is he just going to sit on 1-1 for a bit? Okay. Yeah, so his upgrades are going to be really lacking as the game gets further and further, as ShoWTimE does have double forge. He is double upgrading, and obviously Chrono Boost is going to be making that speed along as well. ShoWTimE takes his high ground, and he is starting to pressure Clem forward here. But Clem sees it, starts to intercept, maybe pick up the High Templar. That'd be a nice catch.
Once it does eat a Storm in the process, though, where are all those mines? I mean, the good thing about not having maybe the best upgrades is that mines and EMP obviously don't care about your upgrades.
Certainly, and some more high-energy High Templar, just the one high-energy High Templar coming up to try and engage there. Storm gets dropped, but not obviously amazing. Actually kills a Zealot.
Clem is doing really good so far. Look at Clem. He's actually just going to pick up a whole bunch of units. He does leave quite a bit of bio behind.
Look at all these Widow Mines.
He needs to land EMPs, though.
Yeah, he's got some EMPs available. Widow Mines connecting a bit on the charge loss there. ShoWTimE taking his time to try and get down into low ground. Clem breaks off a big drop to the 3rd base. EMPs there on some of the units, doesn't hit the High Templar. This Nexus is in a lot of trouble. That's going down.
Wow, if Clem actually wins a game with this drop, this is like one of the sickest calls I've seen. There are a lot of the mines have disappeared, though, and Storms are starting to do quite a bit of damage. Clem, can you get enough units out at home to defend?
Big EMPs from some of those units there, the Protoss army, using the Prism to try and get those High Templar to save themselves from the EMPs. Clem is done with that Nexus. He's heading into the natural now. ShoWTimE warping in units back at home to try and defend. Clem's got a nice little Sim City to turn and engage these charge lots.
Yeah, that actually is pretty damn sweet for all of these bio units. A couple of Marauders and Marines will go down in the front, but Clem is really starting to make some magic happen. He has pushed the army back on the other side of the map as well. ShoWTimE just brought it home. What a sick call by Clem, right? To go for the counter drop there, man. You gotta get excited when you see plays like this and calls being made by these young guys on stage. Clem definitely doesn't have this game yet, but I thought that was a really, really cool and brilliant call.
It is really awesome, but I want to reiterate the fact that I said earlier is that the upgrades are going to be a problem here as the upgrades get further and further along for ShoWTimE. He's starting 2-3 at the moment in his gateway units. Clem's armory's not even done yet. He's starting engineering bay back at home. He's still on 1-1. He's going to be on 1-1 for a very long time.
It's going to be a lot of Archons, though. And Archon Stalker, I mean, if the Ghost count just gets a little bit higher, if the Marauder count gets a little bit higher, you're spot on, Maynard. Absolutely. Upgrades are incredibly important in this matchup. But like I said, Withermines will always find their damage, and EMPs will always find their damage, especially against Archons, right? So Clem definitely making the best of this game, I feel. Yeah,
absolutely. Lesser Terran would have folded a lot earlier in this game here, but Clem holding on and playing it beautifully. ShoWTimE as well, showing us a beautiful game, showing how strong he can be when he gets that lead. It's so hard for him to throw it away. Oh, he's got the Stalkers on the high ground here. The Archons coming up, the Prism full of high energy, higher Templar with those Storms as well. Ooh, whiffed EMPs there from Clem, a little bit of a blunder.
Clem has to be a bit careful as well, because I feel like that's not his entire army, and he's obviously very deep on ShoWTimE's side of the map, as we do have a minor pause here. He did start us 2 upgrades, by the way, Maynard. I mean, I think in these kind of games, right, it all comes down to execution in the end. And of course, there is a lot of potential when it comes to the Storms, when it comes to the High Templars that are inside of that War Prism. Clem knows about it. Clem has seen it before already. And I mean, that's just kind of what it all boils down to. Storms connect in a very big way. Obviously, ShoWTimE could very well crush. If he doesn't land those Storms and Mines and EMPs connect, there's a chance that this young man could take perhaps a very surprising 2-0 lead here.
Yeah, it does really, at this point, come down to the spellcasters where upgrades don't matter. Like you said, you know, an EMP will always do the amount of damage an EMP will do to shields and to energy bars. And Storms, likewise. This crowd still standing in strong, enjoying that StarCraft 2 action. We're actually back in the game. The pause is over. Clem looking to engage ShoWTimE here. A lot of Stalkers, pretty squishy to a lot of those upgraded fire units.
War Prism is on the north side of this army, Clem. You got to pay attention. Oh my goodness.
There's the Storms that ShoWTimE wanted, and that's going to push Clem way off this part of the map. In fact, some reinforcements as well, getting caught for free here.
Nah, that's very unfortunate. Those mines, if they were burrowed, maybe they could have connected a little bit. ShoWTimE landing some massive Storms there. Oh, poor Clem. He actually had an army and a slightly bigger army supply. He had all the Withermines, he had the Ghost, but he just ate some massive Storms to the face.
Certainly did. And ShoWTimE getting towards that next level of Tier 3 while 3-3 is on the way for these gateway units. And he is putting the pressure on here. This is looking very dire for Clem. The earlier attack looked like it was rough. This one looks so insane. Clem still has a lot of energy on these Ghosts. Landing some EMPs here, but not on the High Templar and not on a lot of these Archons, which are still full on hit points and ready to fight.
Yeah, and obviously ShoWTimE already dealing a lot of damage here, right? A couple of SCVs going down, forcing this base to go away, getting a couple of the infrastructure, you know, a couple of the production facilities there. Clem is definitely in trouble. He was in trouble before. He's in way more trouble right now.
Yeah, there's going to be a miracle hold if he holds this one. ShoWTimE going to triple robotics facility.
Yep.
I mean, you get a lot of Disruptors out or a lot of Colossi, whatever you want to do. I think Disruptors are definitely the right call considering the Ghosts.
He's just like,
on the way.
Probably going to get everything, man. He'll probably get Thermal Lens as well. Looking for a couple of feedbacks. Does connect with 1, 2 of these Ghosts even. Clem still has 104 army supply, but he has lost so many of his expensive units in that previous engagement. And the upgrades, as our awesome dedicated observer Indy is showing us as well. Yeah, those really don't lie. You know, 1-1 against 1-2 is really not that bad. And even if it's 2-2 against 2, but it's +3 armor now already, with +3 attack more than halfway done. Things are looking very, very dicey. Clem needs a minor miracle, and he's going to try to find that miracle, Maynard, with another massive drop.
Well, the massive drop worked for him last time because he had a bit more of a ground force to be able to defend the Protoss. This time he doesn't. I don't think this army can actually stop ShoWTimE if ShoWTimE commits here.
ShoWTimE doesn't really know yet, though. But ShoWTimE does have a couple of Zealots on the north side, so he's already dealing the damage that Clem was hoping to deal on the other side of the map. Clem is flying over a 5th base. That's always something that makes you a little bit sad. You're hoping for some 4th base damage. You're like, oh my goodness, you're already going to 5 bases. War Prism in the main base as well.
That's it. I mean, Clem does get this Nexus, but it's not enough here. Zealots are in the main base. They're doing damage here on top of the production facilities, getting rid of some of those SCVs. Clem is going to try and clean it up. I mean, there's not really Protoss hitting him in multiple spots, so he is starting to deal with ShoWTimE's harassment, and ShoWTimE's army is pulling back to his side of the map, so Clem does have some room to breathe. But the upgrades are just getting better and better for our ShoWTimE, and 3-3 is nearly done.
Clem, well, I guess they're safe over here, but eventually you would say these manufacturers are going to go somewhere, right? +1 airweb is being researched, but I do believe that he just sniped the Stargate. If I saw that, no, see, there is still a Stargate. So you got to be careful yes, over there on just the right side of that army. You got to be a little bit careful. Armies clashing in the middle of the map as well. Disruptors are here. EMPs did a little bit of damage to some of those Archons.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Medevac's trying to find an angle. Still delaying this 5th Nexus for ShoWTimE, but Clem is just trying to hold 4 at the moment. So he is starting to move through the middle of the map. Clem trying to make his presence felt on this side here. Getting some Stalkers. If you can get a hot pick up and save some of these Medevacs, it would be nice, but it's going to be tough. These Stalkers doing so much damage.
Kind of misclicking a couple of times there as well, trying to get all of the bio-units in it, but he did pull the army out of position, so he's going to try his luck on the north side, where ShoWTimE once again is attempting to go up to 5 bases. This army just doesn't look as big as ShoWTimE's army, right? Clem does have a lot of army supply, but I think it's a little bit all over the place. The Disruptors and the High Templars is still the biggest problem. He can take care of these Archons, of the Stalkers probably as well, and the Zealots, but it's the splash damage of ShoWTimE that's going to cause the real trouble.
Well, he gets some great EMPs there on the Archons, and a couple of the Archons did die very quickly there. He only gets a 3rd. Widowmine's up here on the high ground, stopping those charge lots for now, but here they come the rest. And here come the High Templar as well. Disruptors zoning Clem back. Nearly hitting those ghosts, but not quite. Storm also zoning him back, but not connecting to them like the big, juicy center of that bio ball. So Clem still has that army.
Yeah, Clem really doing a good job there and keeping the majority of his gulls alive. And he does have his own 2-2 upgrades as well. I think he's got on a glimpse of that War Prism, but he decides not to chase it. Or, well, in the end, he is going to chase it. Maybe the Marine and the gulls. Is that good enough?
He's got it.
Yep. Oh, that's actually a nice little pick-off as well, even though ShoWTimE does have plenty of robots. I can obviously replace it, but it gives Clem a little bit of time. I mean, he's just getting more gulls, more Marauders, and more Widowmines. But he needs an answer against all these Disruptors and High Templars.
The EMPs do land. Once again, nice EMPs. And once again, good splits against the Disruptors. These Disruptor connections have actually hit nothing at the moment here for ShoWTimE.
But they make it so hard for the Widowmines to ever get anything done. Right?
And they zone back the Terran as well. They stop him from being able to chase and pick off these important, slower units of the Protoss with that Stim Bio, with Concussive Shell and that sort of thing. Also, ShoWTimE setting up for another flank. Also sees the Medevacs here with these Zealots.
Yep, and immediately runs towards the south side of the map as well. He's got a couple of feedbacks available, can blink forward with those Stalkers. At the same time, Clem's still trying. There are random High Templars all around the map, though. They can land some big storms. ShoWTimE, I'm not sure if you're paying attention to that one. He wants to get these Medevacs, and he should be able to maybe get one of them. Ooh. I mean, the random High Templars are just terrifying to deal with.
They are, and he actually doesn't have any energy for EMPs anymore on these Ghosts. And he can just kill the High Templar with a sick A move, so down it goes.
Yeah, that High Templar could have dropped a pretty juicy storm, by the way. Would have probably got a couple of goals. I mean, Clem is looking for opportunities.
Ooh.
Lands an EMP there.
Nice EMPs. You can actually get these Zealots as well. I think you can actually turn and engage this.
Oh,
no! Oh! I was saying these Disruptors are whiffing their Novas. No more. That was about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I mean, that was bound to happen eventually, right? With this much, wow, those Widowmines actually connecting with these Disruptors. That's not something you see every day. Tried to land an EMP there. I think it was a little bit too late. I mean, Clem is just broke compared to ShoWTimE, right? Let's fight those Disruptors as well. Wow, did he just get all of them? By the way, there's no Disruptors on the map right now, I believe. He just got all of them.
He certainly did. As Colossus are a problem for him, though. They've started to hit the field for ShoWTimE. And ShoWTimE is replenishing. He's making a Colossus and 2 Disruptors at once. Clem finding a small ball of expensive units here from ShoWTimE. Force field's not good enough to stop him from retreating. His charge lot's not finding too much damage either. Reinforcements, Clem doing a good job. Another EMP there on the Immortals, getting the Archon as well. But here's the Colossus, and this is a tough unit for Clem to deal with.
Those are like the only High Templars with energy, by the way. They were all together at this point. ShoWTimE realizing, like, probably should space them out a little bit. And that is exactly what the German Protoss will do. Ghosts are coming in from the right side, though, but they have got a little bit of trouble landing the EMPs. They sort of connected in the end.
I think they did all right, but I just think there's so much on the ground here for ShoWTimE. Maybe you could just roll through with just sheer numbers. Clem just doesn't have much of an army anymore.
Yeah, he still has 85 army supply, but I'm not exactly sure where it is. ShoWTimE's army just looks monstrous, it looks scary. There is still that upgrade advantage, which of course really does matter in these kind of battles for these Marines and Marauders. The medevac count is very high, by the way. I think that's where the majority of the supply is. He's got 11 medevacs out on the map, Maynard.
And that'll be it. And he finally manages to afford +3 attack, which is halfway done here for his Terran units. And he has this base that ShoWTimE hasn't seen until just now. And that's so annoying for Clem. He really wanted to get away with this one. But ShoWTimE is going to make him punish for it. And he's starting to push down this ramp. Clem desperately trying to hold. Even SCV's joining in for this one. Disruptor Nova coming forward. He tries to split. He loses some units. But ShoWTimE manages to get the victory there in the end. And we're tied up 1 apiece in this best of 5.
Not a very fun best of 5 so far. Pretty excellent game by ShoWTimE, I'd say. Displayed quite a bit of patience with all of his spellcaster units. I love the way he spaced out all those High Templars, making it so hard. I think a couple of those, you know, the first fights, I think those were the key. I think there was some potential for Clem. Maybe with his big drop, he should have gone even deeper into the main base, maybe commit a little bit more, because I kind of like the idea of, like, you know what, I'm just taking on Ghost, Marine, Marauder, Widowmine. If you want to make a lot of Zealots, good luck, have fun. And I actually think that Clem got himself in a couple of playable positions. Obviously, he was always fighting an uphill battle.
Clem seems to have more Ghosts in his army than a lot of Terrans do against Protoss. Like, usually you will see Terrans make like half a dozen Ghosts just to be able to circle around and pick off the High Templar, but that's kind of their whole job, right? I like that Clem actually had a lot of Ghosts in his army, because they're actually a pretty good fighting unit, all things considered. Even though they can't stim, they have a lot of hit points, they have a lot of energy, they do a lot of damage, and of course, the EMPs. Pretty fantastic. So that's actually a pretty good addition to Clem, and it definitely kept them alive in this game.
Yep, I can only agree. They're really good against Zealots. People often underestimate how good Ghosts are against Zealots. Like you said, they're tanky, they do pretty good damage. They can even snipe as well if they have to. And, you know, don't forget that this was a rough start for Clem, right? The early game, it really did not work out. The Stalkers were very, very successful. Clem couldn't even do his initial push, his initial strategy. All things considered, I wouldn't feel terrible about that game. If I was young Clem, I'd be like, you know, I had a really bad start, made the best of it. And actually, from time to time, it even looked somewhat promising.
There were some glimmers of hope, certainly, after a pretty dismal early game there for Clem. Looks like Automaton's going to be our next map here.
I mean, it was the pause as well, right? Maybe, like, obviously Clem was the one who paused. So,
after some whiffed EMPs, like maybe a little bit of miscontrol, like not getting his hands right at the right location.
And then maybe kind of forgetting what he has to worry about. I said it in the break, but obviously for us, it's easy. We're not sitting here under any pressure. We're just enjoying these games. But he knows that at that point, it's all about the spell-casted dance, because ShoWTimE's army was not invincible at that point. It was all about the storms. Well, then surprise, surprise, High Templars do unload out of the prism, came in from the north side. Clem was just not paying attention. He didn't look on the north side, and those storms, they just kind of pushed him back. And from that point on, he was truly fighting an uphill battle.
Well, I got to say, when I saw the series, I thought, oh, this is probably a ShoWTimE victory. I really favored ShoWTimE here, but Clem's making me eat my words a little bit. I'm a little worried for my prediction, Rotterdam. Clem is a strong Terran.
But your Terran heart is happy, man. I don't even deny it.
Especially with game one. In the bottom right here, the German Protoss with a brilliant game two on Cyber Forest. In the blue, this is Maker's ShoWTimE.
That is a long introduction by Alex.
Yeah.
It is still
Alex
ShoWTimE.
He has a lot to say. So ShoWTimE is 6'2", he lives in Germany, his family's very supportive of Starcraft.
Recently started an Instagram.
He's very handsome, jogs every day.
very supportive family.
Loves puppies probably. I don't know, I've never seen him in one.
It's like, what about the other guy? We have a Clem over here as well, right?
Yeah, let's intro Clem. Go on, Roddy.
In the left bottom side of Automaton, we're looking at the main base of the young, feisty French Terran player. It is Clem.
There it is. Alex is taking control of this cast. He's like, no one gets to clap or cheer for these players.
I like it better when White Rat does it, right? Because White Rat's like, no bottom. It's Clem. I was like, thank you, White Rat. Straight to the point.
White Rat does not cut corners.
Or Clem is just, or excuse me, Alex. Of course, Alex07, you know, a fantastic guy. Does so much for StarCraft in the CIS region. A big YouTube channel. He's a streamer, he casts it, does everything. Part of the organization for this tournament as well. Could also be that Alex is just a massive fan of In Control. And he's like, you know what?
Yes.
One introduction, a best of 5. That's it, man.
And then we're done.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who these players are. Fair enough. See, the thing is, Rotterdam, if you take intros away from me, I feel like I have so little to add now.
There's always a GG, Maynard.
There is the GG. I might have to wait a little while. These players seem to be so closely matched. The games keep going into the later stages.
I'm loving it, man. I'm just happy with the games overall. Truly mean it. There have been plenty of WCS days in the past where we're like, well, hope that the final day is better, you know. Like sometimes in game or day one, things are a little bit better than it is on day 2. But I really think today we had very little to complain about, man. There's a couple of awesome games. Skiller's Massa game 2, I think was fantastic. I mean, yeah, Haas versus Lambo, maybe a little bit less, but after that it just really picked up again. It's been fun. It's been really, really good.
It has. I mean, a lot of people out there, we have had, in all honesty, some WCS days where the games are just not that great.
Yeah.
Like even some BlizzCon days, with the biggest tournament of the year. We were just like, you know, the games, it's a big tournament, huge prestige, but the games weren't that fantastic. What is happening here with ShoWTimE's main base?
I think he's just worried about the Reaper showing up too early or something,
and
he doesn't want to end up losing a probe. It's one of these things that does happen.
But my point is, those probes distracted me for a second there, was that the games today, WCS Spring Day 2, been amazing.
Alien drop, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And we're still having some upsets as well, by the way, in that round of 24. Your boy Probe really going all the way, setting up that rematch in the round of 16 that he had a long time ago in Valencia with Neep. I think that's an awesome story. Really cool to see one of these players from Oceania really performing again.
Yeah, would have been great to see my New Zealand boy Risky get this deep as well, but unfortunately it wasn't the case.
I would have loved to see that as well.
Yeah.
So we do have our Hellions on the way. This is most likely, of course, going to be a Medevac. Sometimes it's a Liberator, but I like Medevacs on this map, Maynard.
Yeah, I think when you see Hellions in production, it's going to be Medevacs. It's just such a strong ferry tactic, and we saw how much damage Big Gabe, Hero Marine, did with this sort of tactic. We'll see if it works out for him this time.
That was the series I was thinking of. That was really good as well. It's like, why can't I think of the other PvT? That was really good, but of course, Hero Marine had a couple of fantastic matches against DNS here on the stage. No, this Reaper is going to distract ShoWTimE. Now, ShoWTimE does have his Oracle still at home, and that's, of course, very nice. But this Medevac is ready to head into the main base. The Oracle is going to spot it, but there is no shield battery here, Maynard. This could become very painful for ShoWTimE.
Well, the Oracle does cut through Hellions pretty quickly, but the Hellions cut through probes even quicker. 5 of them dead already. Wow. Damn, that's a lot of probe damage.
The Phoenix is going to show up. He's going to push this Medevac away, but that's 8 probes. I think that's very reasonable. Now
he goes back.
Yeah, because it's out of energy. The Oracle's out of energy, and a single Phoenix is not really going to stop it. Well, there's still a little bit of energy. I can't blame Clem, but is it finally out of energy? Now it is. Well, there's Stalker as well, but hey, he's still got 2 more, right?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 4 Hellions, Medevac does die, which kind of stings, but 10 probes, that's pretty good damage, man.
As long as you're ready to deal with the counterattack. Like, if this was a mana game, I know what's going to happen. He's going to grab all of his gateway units, going to run to the other side of the map. Seems like ShoWTimE is like, well, this is not a mana game, but I'm still going to pull a mana over here. Of course, it's always a risk.
Oh, I love this.
He's going to ignore it, by the way. Yeah, I mean, you love it, but on the other hand, Clem really needs stuff at home as well.
He's going to see it. ShoWTimE clicked on it. Yeah, he's going to catch it here.
But in a way, this might actually be good for Clem. Because if this would have showed up in his natural and he wasn't ready for it, he only has 1 tank and the bunker wasn't ready. Don't tell me you're going to move out, Clem. That's just madness. Why would you do that?
He's going for this super early push with a very small amount of units and a couple SCVs.
I am so shocked.
This is weird.
That he's willing to move out this early. But I mean, in a way, it's kind of working out. Because ShoWTimE is going to chase down this starport. So that does allow these tanks to get in a really good position. Maybe just wants to get a cancel on the Nexus. The one thing, though, is that Automaton is such a big map that I feel that these units are kind of committed. ShoWTimE is not expecting this move out, and I really can't blame him because this is weird. Like, Terran has no recall.
And the bunkers start here, and these tanks are actually fighting up onto high ground, which is going to be tough already for Terran, but this is a pretty annoying little thorn in the side of ShoWTimE here. He has these gateway units trying to hold that high ground. The Stargate units are also sort of pushing back, giving himself a little bit of vision.
Clem is making some really brave calls so far in this best of 5. And hey, this is working out. This is one of the most random move outs I've seen, but it is working out. Now, my initial concern still stands. Clem, do you have enough at home to deal with playing Stalkers?
I think he has a bunker.
Nope, those are the bunkers that he's building on ShoWTimE's side of the map. What he does have is a tank there, but the tank is not sieged. Now it is, and that's very good. Neil's Stim is not done yet, by the way. He's probably hallucinated Phoenix. ShoWTimE is going to blink in the main base. It's not a Phoenix, it's just the Oracle. Don't lose Stim. If he ends up losing Stim here, Maynard, that would be a catastrophe for Clem.
This is Combat Shield, which isn't the most important upgrade, but I mean, it would help out these Marines on the front line if they're unupgraded just to stand and fight against gateway units and Stargate units. So it does still sting to lose that Combat Shield upgrade. Tank getting into the main to help out with the defense against these Stalkers. ShoWTimE doesn't want to lose any of them here.
Such a crazy game again. Really hard to read.
Not that many Marines.
Oracle's going to show up, and that means that indeed a few Marines are going to fall. There's no missile turret there, so this Oracle's going to get a few more. There are Widow Mines, but he's not really paying attention to that Oracle. That Oracle's doing so much damage. Yeah,
all the damage that Clem did on the other side of the map. ShoWTimE's doing way more here to Clem with that Oracle, and Clem's just concentrated so hard on these Stalkers. He's not cared about these SCVs dying. Well, I mean, of course he cares, but he prioritized the Stalker defense.
I just love how that army is still there. Now ShoWTimE is going double forge. I think that's a really good way to play this. Probably going to go very heavy on the Stalkers and Zealots this game, even heavier than he was on Cyber Force. But of course, this game, the initial game, the early game, has been so messy and scrappy that I think both players probably have a pretty hard time figuring out where they actually are in this game. Like, is this good? you don't play too many games that play out like this 7 minutes and 45 seconds into the game.
Clem has like 30 army supplies sitting here doing nothing at the front of the natural of ShoWTimE because he's on the low ground. I mean, yeah, he's stopping a 4th Nexus from getting dropped down here, but ShoWTimE just took the 3rd elsewhere.
The Phoenix has missed the medevacs?
Yeah, just barely missed the medevacs.
Okay, he's going to find it now. A couple of units have been warped in, but this double drop could really hurt. The Oracle's making their way over to home as well, but it's going to take a while before that one shows up. I guess that was charged, but already finished up, right?
Yeah, it looked like it. The Bio getting tucked in the corner here in the main. The Pro's being pulled as well. Clem Michaeling his medevacs back a little bit here. Does lose all of them, though, and all of his Bio units. That's devastating.
Yeah, and obviously slowing down charge doesn't really help, right? Because it's already finished up. Oh, this one mine could get a really sweet shot off from the high ground, but ShoWTimE should see it, and ShoWTimE does see it there in the end. Now, Clem did kind of use this initial little push that he had as a fallback point, a safety point, a checkpoint. He's like, all right, well, then maybe I can just start doing a little bit of kiting from here on out. Man, this is so weird. You just don't see this very often. Like this, at least. Yeah,
certainly not. This is so strange. He has a lot of army supply here. He could actually unload those bunkers and start to pressure with even more Bio now that he has Stim. But ShoWTimE's coming in with some Zealots on the low ground and some Stalkers as well on top of these bunkers.
Yeah, really, really good fight here by ShoWTimE before the reinforcements show up. Now ShoWTimE was still able to deal with this, even though it's not for free. ShoWTimE did lose a lot of units. But some of these bunkers just staying alive forever. Here are the reinforcements of Clem, and ShoWTimE cannot afford to lose too many probes here.
Oh, big connection. 7 probes going down. Those 2 SCVs that were repairing the bunkers are dead. And Clem's breaking off into the main base. He's got a supply lead. Look at his army supply advantage.
Yep, Clem is going to be hitting multiple sites now at once, and ShoWTimE is going to have such a hard time splitting up his units. Another mine is going to connect with a few more of these probes. I don't think this army is big enough for ShoWTimE. He needs more units, but he obviously needs units in the main base as well. Clem is playing out of his mind so far in this best of 5.
17 probes dead. And that's just climbing here as Clem jets into the natural. That's where all the probes have run. That's where they're trying to hide here against the Bio Clem, which is trading against these Stalkers. And that 3rd Nexus has got to go down, Roddy.
It's only a 10-minute game, but I feel like more action has taken place than in a lot of these 15 or 20-minute games. It just doesn't stop between these two, but ShoWTimE is in so much trouble. Losing the Nexus, losing a whole bunch of the probes as well. What a messy, scrappy, back-and-forth game. But things looking very good for Clem. This time did leave a Widow Mine behind in that mineral line. Connects with the Oracle as well. The young Frenchman, I mean, has played 27, 28 games by now in this tournament. ShoWTimE only in his 7th game of the tournament. Clem looks like he's ready to take a 2-1 lead in this best of 5.
He's got so many Widow Mines as well. This is such a tough position for ShoWTimE to actually trade against well. He's splitting off his Zealots. Nice splits, actually.
Widow Mines.
Yeah, Trader Mine turning out against Clem there a little bit. The Siege Tank's actually doing a little bit of these High Templar as well.
The 1 HP medevac with a couple of Bio units inside of it. Yep, nice. Yeah, 1 health. In the end, it does go down, but at least those Bio units managed to get out of that burning ship.
But Clem, 3 CC, producing SCVs on 3 bases, lots of production, plus 2 attacks on the way. ShoWTimE's only retaking his 3rd Nexus now.
Clem is looking fantastic. I honestly think at this point, Clem should probably not try to be too fancy anymore. Don't try to go for multiple drops. Don't try to split your opponent in. Just keep all of your units together. Clem, your army is bigger. I think your army is stronger. I really think you can just start pushing with 1 big army now, and then you should be able to maybe close out this game in the next 2 minutes.
Clem even getting a 4th on location here as he moves out. Double upgrades as well. He's got double, I didn't even realize he had double engineering bay. He's got 2-2 here. High Templar on that high ground with Storm, can catch some of these Bio units.
Yep, Storm obviously still all dangerous and does do quite a bit of damage. There's another Storm or 2 available. Look at this 1 mine squeezing forward, trying to maybe get a few more probes. ShoWTimE obviously a little bit distracted.
Yeah, Widow Mine's doing a little bit here. Not that much damage. I think he may got cut. Yeah, he's got 2 probes here.
ShoWTimE suddenly looking quite healthy again. It really started to look like he was falling apart, like he was almost down and out. But ShoWTimE still clawing his way back into it. Now Clem setting up another double drop. I mean, that's like the 5th double drop that we've seen heading towards the main base. ShoWTimE maybe even feeling confident enough that with Storm, he can take an excellent fight.
Some High Templar here on the high ground. It looks like he actually might have picked off a few of them there. I think he might have missed it, the Observer, but yeah, there's 3 High Templar with a lot of energy just sort of on that high ground trying to hold on. Drop in the main base, but feedback's also available as Blink Stalkers come through it. Doesn't kill the medevacs, but does shoo them away at least.
Would have in the old days, Maynard.
Good patch. Scans on the high ground, trying to pick off that Archon. Not quite, though.
More mines, more goals on the way, but of course this time Clem is not in such a big upgrade disadvantage. And he is on 4 bases. I mean, this is always something that's like, normally it's reversed, right? It's the Terran that's on 3 and the Protoss that's on 4 bases. So still I want to say things are looking good for ShoWTimE, especially not if you look at this supply, but a couple of High Templars, a couple of Storms. It's not even about the Prism, I mean, he just gets a lot of bio here for free. This is a really sweet little pickup for ShoWTimE. Clem, you probably want to keep your army together at this point.
Yeah, that army supply advantage he had isn't really there anymore. He's still got these ghosts. Big storm in that bio, and he sits there in it as well, enjoying the weather. And it's just a little bit rough. Ghosts, lots of ghosts here. Oh, storms forward from ShoWTimE. Gets rid of a few of those ghosts. The Widow Mines do burrow.
Oh,
gets the EMPs on the High Templar as well. Those Widow Mines also connecting with a big plucked up cluster of gateway units and Archons. They're very softened up.
What a sick EMP there by Clem. He really didn't have a lot of time to land that one, but he was able to connect with a couple of those High Templars, and that indeed allowed the mines to then get some good shots up as well. This game is still messy, but those units were on move command, so a few of these Stalkers do get picked off. High Templar does not have energy to storm. Maynard, what is this game?
ShoWTimE caught Clem, and Clem caught ShoWTimE. There's both players doing tons of damage to each other. Such a close game here.
Does he have a couple mines? I mean, suddenly I'm very worried here for Clem. Where are the medevacs? He has 5 of them, but I guess they're all out on the map. Clem, you would really benefit of having a couple of medevacs with this army, because if he stims twice, he's going to be in trouble. ShoWTimE warping in enough units at home now. I don't know where ShoWTimE gets the money from, but he must have been very effective. And
there goes that Prism High Templar play. Big storms from ShoWTimE. So much damage to Clem's army. Medevacs are coming to join the fight now, finally, though. 6 SPs are dropped for Clem. That's not the end of the game. But if this charge lot warp finishes, it's actually such a scary army for ShoWTimE. They are fresh and ready to fight.
The Barracks really helping out there, right? Making it more awkward for these Protoss units to get a good engagement. And Zealots charging forward a little bit further, leaving the Archons behind. ShoWTimE making a risky play with his Prism, but he is going to be able to at least get a few of these bio units.
Warp in? No.
Even a couple Stalkers now, he changed his mind. War Prism is in danger now, though. It's quite low on HP. He's going for this base again. The missile turret! Oh my goodness, almost got the War Prism, but I think ShoWTimE actually killed the turret just before the end.
Clem's got a bit of a flank here. Marauders from the north and also a bunch of fire from the south. He's got units on the main and he come and join in as well. ShoWTimE decides to move forward into that natural, going straight past the third base, going for the throat of Clem. Clem's army from the top is actually doing a lot here, hurting those Archons, getting rid of a lot of the charge lots as well.
Still microing with the War Prism as well, trying to save every Archon. ShoWTimE really trying to get the most out of his units, but he has no more Storm available. Goes for another big Warp window, saves more Archons. ShoWTimE, how are you sticking around for so long? Oh my god, he's actually sticking around for so long. More Widow Mine showing up. The ShoWTimE probably should go back, right? He didn't have Storm for the last 25, 30 seconds of that fight.
He has no High Templar here in his army.
This game is sick. Oh my goodness. I mean, ShoWTimE's still down, but I feel like he has been down for quite some time, and he's suddenly, if you look at it in the work account, he's actually taking an economic lead to some degree. I don't know if I can really call it a lead, right? There's still orbitals available, but hey, he was mining a little more than Clem there.
ShoWTimE starts plus 3 armor here, going to help out with his charge lots a lot. Clem can't afford 3-3 right now. He's doing nothing. He's going hand to mouth with his money. He's just making more and more units. Drops in the main base with 8 Marines. ShoWTimE has not seen this, so this could pick up a little bit of infrastructure.
ShoWTimE's got 5 Stalkers, but they're actually all quite far out of position, so maybe Clem can unpower a couple of these gateways. Well, he goes for the Violent. We go immediately on, well, no Stalkers, so that's always a good side for a Terran player. Then you know you get out of there for sure. Clem just feels like he wants to move out immediately again, because ShoWTimE is on 4 bases now. ShoWTimE does have his War Prism as well, and he's on 60 workers. What a sick game by ShoWTimE. I really thought he was down and out multiple times.
This Prism's still very, very annoying with 4 charge lots, and he can even warp in there, but he has to warp in defensively, I feel. Clem pressuring here with those ghosts. Lots of Winter Mines as well. The Archon gets sacked. EMP's there on the Prism. Lovely EMP on the High Templar. Another great EMP there from Clem, and he can start to press the issue.
Is that the EMP that Clem needed to finally close out his game? He gets the Archons, he gets a couple of the Zealots. ShoWTimE once again forced to abandon his base. There is a little drop in the main base as well. ShoWTimE should be able to clean this one up, but losing the fort does really, really hurt. And of course, losing all of those High Templars. The EMPs of Clem, his sweet dreams there.
Absolutely, the dreams are made off here for Terran against Protoss. Another EMP there, hitting the Stalker, not quite hitting the Archon. That one a little bit better there. The Archon's getting thinned out for free here. ShoWTimE losing a lot of these important units.
Yeah, ShoWTimE really seems like he's running out of steam at this point. I don't know if he's saving up High Templars somewhere, if he's waiting for another storm, but he cannot afford to lose that base as well, because then he knows he's got 0 mining. There's High Templar on the south side. ShoWTimE, you need to keep this Nexus alive. It's now or never.
Gets one feedback off there, another EMP there hitting all the charge lots. They are really, really softened up. We can tell that ShoWTimE is not an F2 user, as this High Templar is just sitting there watching everything unfold. And Clem, the young Frenchman, going to get himself match point here against ShoWTimE, the WCS veteran and previous WCS champion.
What was that, 12 minutes of non-stop fighting, Maynard?
I'm getting exhausted. I'm an endurance caster. I pride myself on being able to hype 12 hours straight, but this is exhausting, man, but in a great way. What an incredible series.
Clem is making some of the most, adventurous calls, I'm going to put it, that I've seen in a little while. I cannot believe that he just moved out across the map on Automaton with 2 tanks and a couple of Marines. Well, there were Oracles and Stalkers, but it played out in such a big way. He got it a little contained there, and when ShoWTimE finally wanted to clean it up, it actually took a lot longer than I thought, and it allowed the reinforcements maybe not join in a battle on the north side, but it did allow them to put serious pressure on that fort base there. What an awesome match between these two.
And this young Frenchman, small in stature but large in play here in Starcraft 2. He's on match point, looking at that quarterfinal spot. So sick. Day 2 games have been so good.
When ShoWTimE was attacking that fort base of Clem, and at one point he's like saving all the Archons and dropping in more Zealots, and suddenly the army of Clem didn't look that exciting anymore. Army supply started to get really close. He lost a lot of SCVs. I'm like, if no Medevacs show up anytime soon, he steams one more time, I feel like 3 or 4 Zealots are just going to solo this army. And it would have been disastrous, because obviously it would have been very hard. Game 3, always a very crucial one, of course, in best of 5s. I mean, Clem knows against the ShoWTimE, you're not there yet. You're nowhere near there, but must feel good to win such an action-packed game.
And it looks like we're not too far away from getting into Game 4 as well. Got a hint for you, chat. Get your boats ready.
I was like, where are you going to go with this? I'm like, yeah, should have seen it coming.
Twitch chat, love their memes. I've been alt-tabbing into it every now and then while casting the games. What up, Twitch chat? Love you, babe.
Port Alexander, of course, a slightly bigger map. In my opinion, a very nice map for Protoss against Terran. I think it's a very easy little 3-base setup that you can start getting going. I think this is one of these maps where Blink Stalkers can truly shine as well. It's not too big that is likely you're going to miss everything, but it is big enough to really find yourself a lot of room to kite, maybe pick up some reinforcements and stuff like that. Clem on match point of making it into the quarterfinals of a WCS offline event, and that would be his first quarterfinal appearance ever for this young man.
That's right. There's been a few players here at this tournament that have already had their career best performances here in Ukraine at the Cybersports Arena, and we are in game number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, in the top left here, currently against the ropes, amazingly, the blue German Protoss representing Makers. This is ShoWTimE.
Whatever happens in this best of 5, he definitely got tested over here, Maynard.
Certainly did. In the bottom right here, on match point, the Red Terran, the Frenchman. This is Infinity Gaming's Clem. And he's starting to win the crowd, I feel, Rotterdam. They are getting loud for this young lad.
It's hard right after games like that. How can you not cheer for him? I mean, obviously ShoWTimE is fantastic, and I will always cheer for ShoWTimE with my little bit of Protoss bias, but I can only love the way that Clem has been playing this so far. Like I said, the courage that he's showing to make a couple of the calls that he's made so far, and whether all of them paid off in a big way or not, I don't even care. It just shows confidence, and that's the kind of courage that you need as well, I think, in general, to start going really deep in tournaments, right? You can't always be the predictable. You can't always play it safe. No, sometimes you got to go a little crazy. And perhaps ShoWTimE is going a little bit crazy over here as well, Maynard.
ShoWTimE is a very good tournament player. He's got double gas here, or he's going up into gas on that main base.
Proxy Stargate? That's a full wall up. That's sort of, DNS has been doing this as well. And apparently it's just like, you can play very greedy. You can just chrono boost out as many probes as possible. Because Port Alexander, in case you guys don't play it all the time, this is one of the very few maps where a Reaper just cannot enter the main base. This is the only way. They have to go through the natural to get into the main base. So at this point, Clem is going to be in the dark. He's going to have no idea. Is ShoWTimE playing very greedy behind this? Is he chrono boosting a lot of probes? Or is ShoWTimE going to cheese?
And it's proxy something.
Stargate?
Yeah, I think so, with the 150 gas there. There it goes.
He's like, where are my binoculars? He's like, where is the binocular?
Let me
in! He's like throwing rocks and like see if it lands on something. He's like, it's hollow, there's nothing.
Yeah, and dropping the rock inside of the well and you hear nothing. No water in this well, no nexus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's, I mean, at least he did SCV scout, so that gives him a little bit of information. And Clem actually bunkers up very quickly here back at home.
Oh, Reaper seemed like it was on a little bit of a mission. Yeah, the bunker is obviously a tell already, right? Clem clearly worried about something. So, okay, now there is a Nexus going up behind this. I guess just for the quickest Oracle possible and then just play a somewhat normal game behind all of this?
Yeah, not a committed proxy here from ShoWTimE. I mean, as not committed as a proxy can be.
Widowmine is on the way. Is that Oracle going to show up before that Widowmine is even done? I guess it's going to be quite close. I think the mine might be done, but I don't think it's ever going to be in the right position.
Yeah, that's
right?
the thing. The Oracle just goes to wherever the mine isn't.
Yep. It's probably going to see it as well. It can even keep track of it, so it can just avoid it. That is a very exposed mineral line in the main base for Clem. Widowmine. Come on, you got to be
straight into Cyclone here. He's trying to drop a tech lab.
I'm very surprised that he's making a medevac, by the way.
Yeah. Clem possibly misreading this here.
Yep. Well, Oracle is going to show up. We know there's no mine. ShoWTimE obviously couldn't be 100% sure, so he was a little bit careful. Now he sees where the mine is, so this is really nice for the Oracle player because now he can just avoid it.
That's right, skirting around the outside of that. Oh, what? Oh, okay.
That's
playing with fire there.
Losing your Oracle here in game 4 when you're trailing 2-1. He's got 2 Oracles. No, what is he going to do with this one? This is going to be annoying. Still just kind of avoid this with a mine for as long as he can.
Yeah, still doing a lot of damage. 6 SEVs. There's the dead Oracle. That's a, what? Like a...
It's really smart. He moved it to the right side, making it perhaps seem that he almost picked it up or something. Oh my goodness, if this one connects as well, that would have been massive. But I guess ShoWTimE did see it in the end. How bad is... I mean, down 11 workers, but obviously quite the investment for ShoWTimE. The Adapt does get picked off too.
Thanks, Reaper.
Can this drop get anything done on the other side of the map? I mean, ShoWTimE doesn't have a lot, Maynard. He's got a Stalker.
Yeah, I mean, this army of Clem definitely beats that, but ShoWTimE's trying to deal with it because he's walled himself in here. He's got to get rid of that pylon and has to repower it with his other pylon on the backside there. And now there's a Viking, so the Oracle can't dive too deep anymore.
ShoWTimE is up 13 workers, and that's obviously way more than he's been up in the majority of these games. So in that way, you can really say that this double Oracle opening proxy Stargate has been a success. But obviously it changes the tempo of the game a little bit as well, right? There is no robotics facility yet. There are no forges yet. There is Blink halfway done, and Blink is very, very strong, especially when the armies are small. So I think this was a success for ShoWTimE, but he still has to be very careful in the next minute of this game.
Certainly, like there is a push that Clem is gearing up for here. He might even go for that push where he just has a few units, just to, you know, he has the amount that he needs to do that push that he did on Automaton to start things off with. Ended up being pretty nice. Oracle's got juice again for another Pulsar beam. He's just going to go for a Revelation, yeah.
But that's, in a way, that's not even that bad for Clem, because that means, at least means no stasis traps for a little while, right? And if Clem just wants to get a few more units out, this one Marine does see when ShoWTimE is expanding. It's 5 minutes and 35 seconds. You could say that's a tiny bit later than some of the other openings, but of course the proxy is not the most economic opening. Would have loved to see Clem bring those Vikings a little bit closer to the Oracle before he attacked it.
Yeah, just trying to gain the attention there of the Protoss player. ShoWTimE's only got 4 Stalkers now, does not beat this army, but he can shave and kite these Marines off a little bit.
Doesn't beat this army, but it definitely does beat a Marine one at a time. More Stalkers coming in as well. Blink is done. Now Clem is sending a drop to the main base. I'm not sure if ShoWTimE saw that. ShoWTimE is warping units into the natural. Well, 5 Stalkers should be enough, right?
Yeah, but they're in the natural if Clem goes for the main mineral line.
Well, this is going to get a little bit messy. There is no shield battery in the main mineral line.
The pylon giving ShoWTimE a bit of time, though, to get those Stalkers in position. He'd love to pick off these men. Oh my god, the Oracle does die, but the tank's going to go down, and that is the big pickoff there for ShoWTimE. Gets the medevac. The Marines are checking in, but they're not going to check out. ShoWTimE should be able to hold on here. He's losing some Stalkers, but he does clean up Clem's push. And
really amazing that
drop.
All of those Stalkers were in the dead zone of both of those tanks, right? Because if either of those 2 tanks would have been able to volley at least once or twice, I actually think that was a very risky move by ShoWTimE. He could have ended up losing a lot of Stalkers. He still ended up losing quite a few, but obviously reasonable trades, especially because ShoWTimE is going to be on 3 bases and Clem is only at 2.
Yeah, and all those important upgrades that you want with your Bioware Terran are just kind of starting up here for Clem. Stim, Combat Shield, +1 attack, just barely begun for the Terran. ShoWTimE's about to have a Templar Archives. Like, this is a scary moment for the Terran.
Yep, ShoWTimE basically has all the time in the world now, and Clem is like, well, that was my little push, and now I guess I've got to wait. And yes, that's exactly what you got to do, Clem. From this point on, you just got to wait, and ShoWTimE already 16 workers ahead. So clearly, that was actually very, very good for ShoWTimE, because he also knows he's going to be saving the next minute and a half of this game. And if you give 90 seconds to a world-class Protoss player like ShoWTimE, well, he's going to take advantage of a minute.
That's right. It's pretty hard for ShoWTimE to throw away a lead. when it's this substantial. He nearly did on Cyber Forest, but that was just Clem playing very, very well rather than ShoWTimE making massive mistakes.
He still doesn't have a robo, by the way. That's kind of shocking. Okay, there we go. Now he's going to warp in a robotics facility. I was about to say, that's the only thing that I feel like he maybe should have had a bit sooner, because then you can put some observers on the outskirts of your bases above airspace to make sure that if there are any drops heading towards your main, you can at least get a little heads up, and it's becoming a lot easier to deal with those drops as a Protoss player. Clem, his team is almost done, so he finally feels like, well, maybe this is it. And he does have an army, don't get me wrong, there is an army. The thing is that ShoWTimE has had so much time to get ready for this, and he's even getting Storm. I mean, if the Storm's with Maynard, there is always a chance here for Clem, but how is he going to... Well, there's no there's no Warp Prism at least, so maybe it's going to be a little bit harder for ShoWTimE to land the big Storms in this game like he did in some of the previous matches.
That is true, but I mean, there's at least 4 Storms here for ShoWTimE, maybe even 5. That's so tough for Clem to break through. Starts that Warp Prism because he absolutely wants to load up those High Templar out of the Warp Prism. He doesn't want to have them in harm's way here against the Bio or the tanks.
One danger is that ShoWTimE actually doesn't have any armor upgrades, and he's quite Stalker heavy, so these Zealots could disappear. Army supply is starting to get very, very close though. The boys are making their way to the other side of the map as well. Clem
Against
knows.
Storm though. Does he know there's Storm?
I don't think, well, he's about to.
He does now.
Well, that wasn't that bad for Clem actually, but
yeah,
he knows there is more where that came from. It's never just one Storm. There's always at least a couple available. Widowmines are going to start getting ready on this.
Nice Widowmine line. This is actually a very nice Widowmine line for Clem to be able to retreat back against. I like this tank position as well. Difficult for ShoWTimE to pick off. He blinks down here on the low ground, spreading his Stalkers out. Big Storms here on the ramp, double stacking them a little bit. Clem takes tons of splash damage though. Can he actually stand and fight here? There's still more Storms available for ShoWTimE.
I think he absolutely needs to land one more Storm. Those Widowmine connections were massive. The Stalkers are on the wrong side right now, but ShoWTimE's army is bigger. And like you said, he still has a Storm or two. Clem is just going to go for the main base. I mean, I guess it's a desperation play. Clem knows he's on the clock here. He's really not minding a lot anymore. Look at the High Templar. ShoWTimE just had so many High Templars. Stalkers are here to snipe those Medivacks.
They certainly are, and there's the High Templar to bring in the rest. ShoWTimE going to take it to a Game 5 with beautiful proxy play there, putting on the pressure on Clem, and they're just not throwing away the lead.
Collapsing on that army in the middle of the map, I think really was key here for ShoWTimE, because that drop or that push could have been very hard to deal with if the tank siege up, if the Viking is there on the ground to help out as well, or if he doesn't see that drop coming into his main base. That could have been very annoying. And he maybe struggled a little bit with the drop, but he said, like, I'll take care of the drop soon. What I want to do is take care of these tanks, because I know if I pick off these tanks right now, I buy myself a lot of time, and that is exactly what ShoWTimE did.
Certainly did. And, I mean, this series does deserve a Game 5, and I'm so happy we're going to see it. Love to see the map. Kairos Junction. All right, our final battlefield here in this best of 5. One player, both these players, such incredible representations of their race. We got ShoWTimE representing Protoss, Clem representing Terran. Either of them leaving this tournament is a tragedy, but it's a 1v1 tournament. It's Highlander. There can be only one.
I think as a neutral Starcraft fan, I'm just always happy to see it go to distance. I just want to see 5 maps, and I think it's been a very fun series so far. Maybe the previous game not as sick as the Automaton game, or even the Cyberforce game, which I do think was very, very entertaining, even though Clem was behind in it. I'm just always happy to see more Starcraft main art. It's been a long day. We have more Starcraft, of course, coming after this. Do you have any idea, by the way, what's going to be our next series on the mainstream?
I'm not too sure, actually. I wish I did.
There's so many good options, though. Like,
yeah.
What are they going to pick?
That's right. If
it's not my boy Goblin, though, I'm going on strike.
we're gonna pro game a rally through the middle of the map there. just saw like 8 or 9 pros run through. Spot your favorite. We are inside this game here. We're only 2 pros being shown, and they are on the stage in the limelight right now. On the top left here, representing Makers, getting a great Game 4. Can he win Game 5? This is the German player, ShoWTimE.
Maynard, do you see what I see?
I do.
Yeah, in the right bottom side, a man that doesn't have as many SCVs as he perhaps should have in the main base. It is the French Terran. Can he go to the quarterfinals for the first time ever at an offline WCS event? It is Clem. How was that still shorter than Alex's intro? Unbelievable, Maynard.
This is the build. Alex always takes longer for the second player than the first player.
Really?
So you have to really, I learned that with DeMuslim and with Todd. Right. Yeah, we're getting the builds here. Speaking of builds, Proxy Barracks, single gas back at home. We've seen this, I think, 3 times already in this tournament in Terrans against Protosses. So a proxy that Terrans are really believing in.
And it won in both games, actually. Even though Hero Marine didn't win the game immediately, Masa kind of did. Well, even that game was dragged out a little bit, but ShoWTimE is going to scout, and he's going to see that something ain't right. He's going to see the gas timing. Wow, that second refinery. Do you think that's a confusing thing? Do you think that ShoWTimE maybe just reads this as a regular 1-base all-in, maybe as a factory build? So I'd be kind of confused about a super quick second factory. I wouldn't necessarily think that this is a 2 barracks opening. Hero Marine did it against DNS. Wasn't the best execution as he lost both SCVs immediately. But hey, at least he got the victory in the end. And then, of course, we saw Masa do it against the young Russian Protoss Skillers. And for Masa, it worked out very, very well.
Certainly did, but Zealot out from ShoWTimE. He's doing a lot of damage to these SCVs as well, and that bunker is not close to finished.
I'm actually kind of shocked to see how much damage ShoWTimE has done so far to these SCVs already.
I like
a
the
shield battery on the low ground. I would have kind of liked to see it on the high ground.
You think it's a little bit too ballsy?
Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe it plays out in a very big way.
Probes being pulled off the line here, engaging those Marines directly.
Wow,
one Marine picked off. Wow. Every Marine picked off is actually quite huge here, as inconsequential as it would seem in the later stages of the game.
Well, this is actually not going well for Clem at all. That bunker is still not done. He's been losing a couple of Marines. That shield battery is going to finish up now.
Juice me up. There we go. The Zealot is ready to fight.
There's a second
that's
bunker.
so rough for Clem.
Yeah, and now the Stalker is almost out. And once the Stalker is out, this changes everything, because the Stalker has range, the Stalker has speed. I mean, ShoWTimE is defending this incredibly well so far, but Clem is not 110% all in, because he is building a factory at home. And ShoWTimE obviously still on 1 base. If you look at the worker count, 24 probes against 17 SCVs. You got to be very happy with this if you are ShoWTimE.
Clem went for a ballsy play in a Game 5, which shows a lot of gumption, but it just didn't work out here. ShoWTimE, he is the wall, and the wall did not crumble here at the start of the Game 5. Like Roddy said, it's not over. There is an ace in the hole here for Clem potentially here as he gets the extra stuff. Like, he's got the factory up, he's making the Cyclone, he's got the Starport on the way as well. Maybe, you know, I could see a Banshee doing damage or something like that. Clem is, strangely enough,
He has done this before. This is basically a super late 1-base all-in. I think he's just gonna try to survive, try to get as many units out as possible, and then eventually it's a really awkward 1-base all-in. Maynard, I don't think we're gonna see Stim here. I don't think we're gonna see Combat Shield here. It's just going to be a lot of units, and Clem is gonna try to punish the expand of ShoWTimE. But I mean, this Cyclone already has so much work to do. This one Cyclone is gonna have to pick up 4 units. Clem, if Clem loses that Cyclone, he's in so much trouble. He's kind of supply blocked as well.
And a little bit starts that depot, but on 31 supply. He's got 2 of them on the way. That one of the front lines, I mean, ShoWTimE's not going to let him get away with that one. He is losing these Zealots.
This is really good for Clem, actually, because he wants to keep the army of ShoWTimE as small as possible.
Stalker, he's diving for it. Gets it as well. Stalker, and also the Cyclone getting back up to the high ground. Don't go chasing.
He could maybe do it, but you're playing a very dangerous game. Clem knows he needs to keep that Cyclone alive. Maynard, this is it. ShoWTimE going for a Prism. Now, Prisms can be strong defensively. They can be strong very aggressively. ShoWTimE was pretty deep in the main base, though, and he should have seen there was no command center there. But he's still building probes, so I don't think ShoWTimE has really figured this out, but he's getting the extra gates. The probe is heading in the right direction, though. This could be a massive scout, because that could allow ShoWTimE to get way more shield batteries and stop building probes.
And he sees it now, so they actually, I think, canceled the last couple of rounds there of probes there. Shield batteries getting made for ShoWTimE. He's still moving out these Stalkers and also this Warp Prism.
I mean, he could maybe try to pick off a couple of these Marines, or he just wants to fight the Cyclone and the tank. This game is getting wild. This is a risky move by ShoWTimE, but he's building up an Immortal. ShoWTimE knows that time is on his side. He's mining way more. He just needs to survive a little bit longer.
Oh man, these 4 Stalkers can be juggled around in this Warp Prism. That Banshee does not have Cloak. He is losing 1 Stalker here. The other one getting a little low, but he's picking off these factory units as well. Nice micro from ShoWTimE. But it feels like there's too many factory units for him to actually unload and engage anymore.
Yeah, with 3 Stalkers, quite low on HP. You don't want to get too crazy, but it's the Immortal, right? The Immortal has a lot of power at home, but ShoWTimE, you need to make sure you have a lot of backup units there as well. I would have loved to see a Guardian Shield. I think with a Guardian Shield and these shield batteries, ShoWTimE always holds. ShoWTimE's army is actually a tiny bit smaller than the army of Clem, but he's got the shield batteries.
He does indeed. He's got an extra one coming down as well. That tank is so low. Dives a little bit deep there. The Marines doing a lot of damage, but the Banshee is dead, and that tank is a bad breath away from dying. And Clem's attack is starting to fall flat here. ShoWTimE has way too much, and he gets himself 2